Yeah, looks like we got him.
Incorrect. I got him.
Well, either way, we're gonna collect this bounty. What the?
Yeah, sorry about that. I'll be right with you, folks. I was asked for a favor right when this song was ended, so I'm just doing that real quick. It won't be more than a second. I just gotta link stuff. Yada yada. So just 1 second. Be right with you. All right. Okay. I did the thing that I wanted to do. Howdy, folks. Cody here with IronVerse Comics. Got home from work a little while ago, fed the dog, did all that good stuff. I hope you're doing well today. It's Saturday, so I hope most of you are just relaxing or having a good time or seeing friends, enjoying the weekend, I guess would be the terminology I need to use. I'm kind of excited. It's been a while since we've done a What You Reading, and I always really like those streams. I've had a few that I've had one that wasn't so great, and then I guess 14 had a weirdness to it too. I went back and kind of watched chat. There was an interesting character in chat that time as well. Um, I don't know what the angle was there. It was weird. And What You're Reading 12 also had some weirdness to it. So I've taken breaks on those just because it's kind of like, why is it particularly these streams that do it? Um, though I usually do them during the week. I don't do them during the weekend, so I'm trying a different day. Maybe I'll do them on Saturdays if I feel up to it after work. Um, I'm running on like no sleep. But I'm at the delirious end of that, so that should be good. We should be golden to talk about some stuff. Um, so we're gonna front load with the What You're Reading, and after we're done with that, then we'll move on to the Jack 4 talk. We'll talk about where we are in the campaign, what was added, maybe my thoughts and feelings, how I felt yesterday went, those kind of things. But let's deal with the main point of the stream and the thing I'm kind of the most stoked to do. So I picked the three that I remember I've read since. Um, I did read another thing since, but I guess you know what? I will grab it to talk about it also because I'm talking about something else that I've quote unquote already talked about. Um, so if you've been watching any of these streams for a little bit, there's been a couple where I've been uh, somewhat putting aspects of what you're reading into those streams. Um, so, talking about things I've been reading. In fact, a couple I actually was reading on stream, which I am going to do more of because I enjoy doing it. Um, and I think I have a fun angle to do it when I got it planned. But, oh no. Oh no, it looks like the stream is running like crud. Let me see if I can redo real quick, folks. Wish me luck here. Yeah. Alright. Well, I fixed it, but am I back in time? So that we didn't separate the streams. I don't know. If we did, apologies. It looks like we're okay. Looks like I was quick enough. I had to change the server that Restream is routing through. Sometimes Texas is the best for here. Sometimes California is the best for here. I was still set from Texas from yesterday, which I had to do, or else I couldn't have streamed the last stream there. But we're good. I think we're back, and I think because I saw a viewer pop in and then pop right out. And like, why is that? I mean, I'm bad. Like, I'm not the most entertaining host, but not usually that bad. And yeah, it was the quality of the stream. So we should be back to a decent stream. So the intro is gonna be shit. Um, my cat's being annoying. I don't know why she keeps doing that. But so if you hear her, apologies. Um, she's being weird today. But yeah, I guess I'll just start again so that folks can understand what I'm talking about. It's disappointing when I don't notice the streams running like crap during the intro or something, but it is what it is. So we've got some stuff on what you're reading. We're gonna do some what you're reading, and then we're gonna move on to talking about Jack 4. And that's the long short of it. It's been a long time since I've done what you're reading, and there's a couple of reasons for that. But I've put aspects of what you're reading into a couple other streams. And we'll be talking about some books that I've talked about with those aspects. Um, and the stream should be golden again, which, yeah, again, annoying and apologies. But it is what it is, and the show must go on. All right. So let's go with the oldest thing I remember reading since then. Since What You're Reading 14. So it's been a while since What You're Reading 14. So I've talked about these every time I got them. It's just such a fun series. Fist of the North Star. Yeah. The hardcover omnibuses, I guess I'll call them, but they're volumes. The hardcover volumes have been coming in, and they're freaking incredible. Like the quality of the hardcover. It sucks how Amazon ships them, just throws them into a box all loose and they bang around, right? But they survive that pretty well. I mean, I still get my dings and stuff. Again, what? What? I'm working here. Yeah. Yeah, I'm working here. I'm working here. She's a good girl. She's just being weird today. I don't know why. Um, but like every volume's been incredible. It's hyperviolence, and it's the ultimate rendition I've ever seen of a power fantasy. Like Kintaro's always going to win, like there's no question, and somehow it like there's no stakes, right? Like it puts up this facade of stakes, like a very loose facade, and then it doesn't matter because he's gonna win, and it's a lot of fun, for certain. And the quality's great. Artistry, of course, is very fun. Can't recommend it enough. I'm so glad I got a Western reprint, and I'm buying every volume as it comes out. Um, just a great time. Just a great time if you're into hyper-violence, martial arts, and something that takes itself so seriously it's goofy. Fucking great. Definitely recommend. I know there's not too much on that specific volume. It was kind of just general Fist of the North Star, but just take the journey because that's basically everything. There's plot to it, but it the plot's really in service, to that idea. Just putting forward this ultimate power fantasy. Totally worth your time and money, and the volumes, like the hardcover, feels so good, and again, it's super strong. Put a lot of love to every cover. They're looking nice next to each other. Just great stuff. Just really like this is how you show a work of art respect, and then show the reader respect by delivering it to them. Like it's great. It's freaking incredible. And then we'll talk. And then we'll talk about what I burnt through last night. So I've been having off and on. So like the last two omnibuses of this series, so the last 6 volumes, um, meh. It lost a little bit of its oomph, and I had to grind through those 6 volumes, and that bothered me because I was kind of really enjoying the series. There were certain aspects of this series that like just are amazing. Um, and when it hits well, it hits beautifully. Like when it does what only it can do, it does it incredibly. When it's trying to do the things that like every other shonen series does, it's not that great. Um, and so the last 6 volumes or so were not that great because it was doing what every other shonen series does. We're talking about Shaman King. So this omnibus, I just got it in yesterday, or whatever. I think it shipped this week. They've been reprinting it for a good chunk now because I guess the older volumes, especially in English, are hard to get a hold of. I've been picking it up since I heard it was being reprinted, and I enjoyed the first like I don't know 12 volumes or something like crazy. They were amazing, particularly the earlier volumes. And then it got into a tournament arc, and then again it started to like imitate other shonen. For a good chunk there, and I was just like, you're doing what these other books do, but worse. Why aren't you doing what you do best? And well, it in volume 19 and then throughout 20 and 21, it returned to what it does best, this beautiful interplay. So most of it is flashback. Most of the 19 and 20 are basically all flashback, dealing with the foundation of Yo, and his fiance's relationship, and how it forged and why they're betrothed, and how they have this connection that you've kind of figured out and been met with throughout the whole series, up to this point. Um, really cool stuff. And then the last volume is the Resurrection of Ren, who is this angry Chinese kid. He's the Vegeta of the series. Again, it does a lot of things that other series do, um, better. But Ren's interesting. He's had a Vegeta arc so far. That's exactly what's happening. Um, but the what Shaman King does best is grand perspective on life. That's the best way to put it. It's shamanic ideals. That's what it does best. When it's trying to be a shonen, it's trying to be this action piece. It's gorgeous artwork, but like it just doesn't have it. It's not Fist of the North Star. You're living for that action. Shaman King, I'm getting through the action to get to the interpersonal relationships and the ideas and how to push forward with a hard life and all these wonderful concepts. That again, like the last 6 volumes before this omnibus, were just all weaker shonen. Like it was a tournament arc. It was just there were reasons for it, right? It's not like it was terrible and you can skip them or whatever. Like there's reasons, there's foundational building in some of these characters. There's some interplay to add the stakes to the villains, right? There's points to those volumes. They just were a slog. And this, I picked it up last night, looked at the first page, read what the first page said, which is again what the Shaman King fucking is wonderful at, is these big grand ideas and presenting them with kindness and being kind of humble about it. It's not easy when there's so much that is precious to you. Making a wish can sometimes cost you dearly. First page, right? And I just launched a campaign and all that yesterday. It was wonderful timing. And So I closed it. I was like, oh, well, fuck. Really, life? You're going to tell me that when I'm doing all this now? Great. But then I couldn't sleep looking at the campaign and all that. So I was like, you know what? I'll open it. Let's see. And I couldn't put it down. I could not put it down. Um, just wonderful. There's this romance. They added a new character who was Yo's first spirit ally, Matamune. Wonderful cat spirit, right? They didn't spend too long establishing what he is, but they spent a good chunk of time so that you know who he is, which is more important. Um, the meeting of his fiance, whose name I forget right now, but these wonderful volumes always have a character guide at the beginning of the chapters. Her name is Anna. Yeah, Yo and Anna's relationship. Just wonderful. There's a couple things in here that were funny, though, like printing wise. And this volume was stalled, too. So I think, to be honest, I think they fucked up in this printing. Because there is a chunk of a chapter there's when I was reading it was fine. I was like, okay, they just didn't show all these scenes that led up to this, but okay, maybe that's just the pacing he chose. Then I read later, like I got further through this chapter, and like at the end of one of the volumes, I think the end of volume 20, it had the scenes that should have been in front of there, should have been in front of that chunk of story, and would have given it more grandiose like feel and flow. And I'm thinking like, there's a good chance they fucked up this printing because there's another page too where the inking is smudged. So this was definitely a rushed printing. I'm finding though it was only one page that the ink got smudged. To be fair, it's just one page. Um, but the chapter thing was odd. Like I was able to understand what was going on, even though I had to, I skipped those pages. But the fact that they then showed up later and like out of sequence, like there was no reason to show that sequence then at all. Like there was no like, and I remember, or even like maybe a callback circular like section to it. I think I would bet it was misprinted, um, which sucks honestly, because I bet if it's misprinted in this copy, it's misprinted in most, if not all, copies. And this one, again, like I said, it was delayed a couple months. So my guess is they switched printers, and in that process, some pages got out of order, and then being rushed to get it out to folks, maybe the proof check wasn't like somebody reading this whole thing. They just kind of looked it over to see if there was any serious damage. And I was like, yep, that should be fine. And they printed something out of order. That's my guess. Your game on Twitch is set to Cyberpunk. Yeah, fuck Twitch. I'm really annoyed. It should be set to podcast. Like, Restream doesn't switch that for me, so I have to open Twitch and all that. I'm not playing Cyberpunk again. It would not stream for me, Eliza Bar. What you saw before was the best I could get it, which yeah, it wasn't worth it. Um, I guess my computer's not strong enough. Thank you for letting me know, by the way. Just chatting. That's the section. Just chatting. Done. All right. Fixed. Fixed on Twitch. I don't think there's anything else super important right here. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Much appreciated, Lizbar. Hope you're doing well this weekend. But yeah, that kind of covers this. It had almost it lost me the last 6 volumes, honestly, trying to imitate better works, and not doing what it does best. But these 3 volumes, even though I think it's misprinted, uh, fucking nailed it. It hit all the emotional highs it needed to, and then it brought me back to the tournament with some interest. So I think what happened is the mangaka, like, he was trying to get it like more popular in Shonen Jump. So he's like, okay, I will imitate these other series, and he tried it, and it just didn't work. And then I think there's only one or two more of these omnibuses to the series. So I think then he was kind of told, well, this is how much time you have left. And I think he then is like, yeah, okay, let's finish this story. And I think that's what's happened and why it feels so much better now. But we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, I think it does end with Omnibus 9 and this is Omnibus 7. I think um I would recommend this series. Again, it's got a couple mid-level lows, but when it hits what it's trying to do, it does it better than most books. Hellblazer hits like similar notes, but in the Western, more gory adult way. This hits them in a more gentle Eastern philosophy. Of course, less, it's a shonen book, the less gory um, way. Even though it's got demons, got all that, it's definitely gentler about it, and I appreciate that because it tackles similar ideas when it wants to tackle those ideas. It's very good at it. Very good at it. Would recommend the series, but yeah, there is a chunk that you got to grind through, which sucks. But you can't expect everything to be pure gold, especially when you're delivering weekly, right? Fucking A. All right, and then these things I've already talked about on stream, but they're part of what I've been reading, and I wanted to kind of get this series, What You Reading, back on track. So we should talk about the stuff I've been reading. That's the point. So we'll talk about it again. Real briefly on both of these because I haven't finished one of them at all. And then this one, I don't have too much to say that I haven't already said a bunch. Um, Punisher Max, The Complete Collection, Volume 5. So the original run of Punisher Max is incredible. The first 10 volumes that Garth Ennis produced with various artists, none of them amiss, any of those artists he worked with. Um, just great stuff, and it's the only place to find that exact personality. I bet you find similar stuff in his other work, in Ennis's other work, but um, it's the definitive Frank to me. Um, Only Ennis not working in Max comes close to other definitive Frank to me. Um, this is not Ennis, nor is it. There's one 3-issue mini in here that's Goran Parlov, and I love Goran Parlov. His sketchy light work is just awesome. Um, and that mini, that 3-issue mini is Welcome to the Bayou. Redneck Cannibals. Punisher comes across redneck cannibals. It's basically everything you expect from that. Um, it was Goran Parlov's art that was great, but then that writer also knew to put in the little bit of dark humor. He's no Ennis about it, but he was able to imitate it. The rest of the book, though, bleh, so mediocre. Like it was just like no flavor to it. The artwork was fine. None of the artwork's bad. It just like again, I said it multiple times about it. Mediocre, mediocre. And then Welcome to the Bayou, which is good, not great, good. And then there's this anthology kind of thing towards the end, um, and it's really good because none of the writers had time to waste, and you can feel that in all of it. There's one short that's 5 pages where it's just a handful of words per panel, really brisk kind of manga style pacing with Frank just like it's the thoughts going on in Frank's head as he's fighting for his life to kill these bad guys, like literally like wrestling them with a knife on the ground kind of stuff. Um, that one's great. Then there's like a 6-page short that Goran Parlov again he did, which kind of recaps all of the original run of Punisher Max, all the Ennis run, like one panel per each volume of Ennis's original run. And it's really cool to see Parlov like imitate the other artists' runs. So again, I really like Parlov's work, particularly on Punisher. Um, but that was really neat. Like that was the high. That was the high of this whole thing was seeing him like imitate the older runs, which is kind of funny. Um, there was an interesting one with some weird kind of painterly art that was mainly following a middleman and him thinking to himself how he justifies being a middleman and not knowing what's going on. And then he was the middleman who was he had something to do with the financial transaction with the people who did the hit in Central Park that ended up killing Frank's family. And so at the end of it, you kind of see Frank get up from the hospital, and then you see that guy's brains get blown all over a curtain as he's sitting for breakfast. But you see the middleman have his family be all kind of fine with it. I don't know what's happening here. I know it's not right, but I make a lot of money and I take care of my family, so that's all that matters. And then at the end, it's just headless gore everywhere. Very Punisher Max. Like that one was fine. Um, but yeah, wouldn't recommend charging buying it for the price that Punisher Max comics are coming for. Please buy the original runs long before that if you're going to spend the money on Punisher Max. Because it's going to stay out of print. I doubt Marvel will ever print it again, and so your options are the big unwieldy omnibuses or the single volumes, or for Ennis's run at least, they produce single issues. So there are a few ways to get a hold of it. I'm guessing the single issues are the least expensive. With the trade paperbacks, I've been noticing have just been climbing like hell. This was $60. Um, Not worth the $60, except for me collecting Punisher Max. Like that's the only reason. There's one more. I need complete collection 7, and then I'll have all of Punisher Max. But that one goes for like 130 right now, and I just can't justify spending that on something I just want to read. Like it sucks. Um, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Um, if you absolutely desperately need more Punisher Max, this is fine. I bet you can just get Welcome to the Bayou separately for a lot cheaper, and you'll get more entertainment. Yo, 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 host the Jolly Jack to see to the. It's. I can't read. Making fun of me. I can't read. No, yo ho ho, hoist the Jolly Jack. It's to see we go. Apropos of nothing. Yes, yes, yes. That's Frank. And I've been reading this. It's slow going because it is 1960s comics and the pacing is molasses, but the value in storytelling is there. This is Stan, Jack, and Steranko doing Shield. It's just Shield by Steranko because eventually it does just become Steranko. But at the moment, it's Stanley doing the scripting, Steranko doing the inks, and Jack doing the layouts. And you can really tell he does some of the penciling too because of how the shading's done. It's Kirby. It's fucking Kirby. But like it's super entertaining. It's goofy 1960s Americans trying to do the James Bond thing in Marvel. And you know what? That's fun. It's fun. It's just like Stan definitely had a lot to say to give flavor to every panel. And so much. It's too much to read. I'm kidding, of course, but it's the as was the style at the time, but like it's not bad writing. It's just there's so much there. Um, there's like so much communication going on because I could feel that Stan and like Marvel at this time, like their goal was to make sure they were giving the reader like the most bang for their buck, which is a different way of swarming. Like you can feel the difference between it. And I think I talked about this before. You can feel the difference between having a ton of writing back then with that idea as why you're doing it to having a ton of writing these days where there's like a almost a sense of insecurity to it. Where I don't think they were doing it because they're worried that the stories will be bad in this. Like they probably didn't care if the stories were terrible. They just wanted to make sure it looked like you're getting a lot of content and the kid would be like entertained for a while. But like nowadays, you get some folks that I've seen, and I don't know if it like permeates all of their work, right? I'm not fans of them. So it's like I haven't read all of their work, but there's some writers, particularly on the DC spectrum. But there's a couple on Marvel too where they just will not shut up and let the artists do their job, which is a lot different than this. Like the effect or the tool is the same, but the effect is very, very different. And so I've been crawling through Shield. I'm like 3 issues through because it's a lot to read. It's not bad. And like all of it again just adds to flavor and story and all of that. Um, Again, none of it's just like I have something to say. Most of it's like there's a reason, and I want you to be involved in this world, please. Um, Compared to some others, whereas I don't know, it's a lot more self-expression more than storytelling. Um, but this I totally recommend. I'm super excited to get to the part where Steranko just takes over, because apparently that's when this gets great and like super surreal, and I'm excited for that. Really, I just opened to a crossover with Captain America fighting Nick. Oh, that'll be fun. Yeah, I gotta get to that. I gotta get to that. Nick Fury versus Captain America. Oh, that's gotta be fun. I did read also the little tidbits. Like they've got a small pitch on who Steranko is in the back here, which is kind of neat. Crazy fella. Then an introduction by Larry Hama, an introduction by Vitor Vitortia. I don't know that person, but it was very interesting to read. As he talks about how Stan wanted at least Jack to work on almost every Marvel title, just so that they all had that feel to it, and that's why he was on Shield. Um, uh, Man finds comic that Kirby worked on is full of paragraphs of gas narration. It's true. It's true. I've also been reading The Demon, right? Same problem. Same problem in The Demon, and that's just Jack. Uh, so you're not wrong. You're not wrong. There was this feel of a lot of egads. You're very correct. Uh, like how many times can these Hydra guys say "Hail Hydra" in the same panel? I love it. That's the difference, though. I love it in this. Like it's this very specific flavor to it. It's wonderful, honestly. It's just slow, right? I tore through that Shaman King omnibus in a couple hours. This is gonna take me days. That's the difference. Um, but I'm gonna appreciate both for what they are, right? That's the thing. And that's what I've been reading. If you want to let me know in the comments below when this is over, if you're watching it later, or like now in the comment section, I'd love to know what you're reading. Eliza Bart usually lets us know what he's reading on his own channel on New Comic Book Day. Well, it's kind of what you're reading, right? Like it's what you picked up. It's what's to be read at some point. So that's a little different, but still like to know. Still like to know. What do I? So Shield. That's probably what I'm going to be reading for a bit. I pulled out The Witcher from Dark Horse as well. I got a few comics into that, a few storylines into that, and that's been entertaining. Just haven't picked it up again for a while, so it's out to read, but I haven't gotten to it. And we're going to do a couple reading marathons on this channel. So we'll be talking about those at some point too, and that's the other stuff that's on the table. But I don't want to spoil the surprises till I have it set up, and I can kind of try and build some hype around it if possible. Who knows? So now, Hail Hydra, full of spite, cut off one head, and two more shall take its place. Um, at this point, they're saying, Hail Hydra, cut off one limb, two more will take its place. They're using the term limb, and they're like, Shield is. Oh God, I know how many times Shield has changed, right? They just had to keep the name. They didn't care what the acronym meant. At this point, Shield is the Supreme Headquarters International Espionage Law Enforcement Division. That's what Shield is at this point. Goofy, super goofy. And there's Hail Hydra again. Yeah. Yeah, cut off a limb and two more shall take its place. Hail Hydra, immortal Hydra, we shall never be destroyed. I just love it. It's so classic. It's so good. It's so good. We still don't know who in this right now, like who is Hydra Commander, I guess they called him, or something like that, or Supreme Hydra. Supreme Hydra, that's it. Because he like changes faces a lot. He's doing the Mission Impossible, like I change faces, no one can see it. Like he turns around and all his minions hand him a new outfit and turns into that person for a while. That's been pretty fun. That's been pretty fun. They tried to set off all the nukes on Earth with this like sound bomb that Nick had to stop. And then they trick Nick to take it like to where it could set off all the world's bombs, but he realizes in time, and you know, the plots are just hilarious. I love them. Again, it's just really slow to get through the plot. Hydra's backstory is so convoluted. I'm certain it is. All I know is they're the bad guys and they're basically Nazis. That's all I need to know. That's all I ever needed to know in my comics, honestly. Uh, I don't need to know the childhood trauma that spawned Hydra. But, if you can do it entertaining, do it. If you can make it entertaining. But, all right. Now we're on to the other fun stuff. That's what I've been reading. Oh, we got a new contribution right there. Excellent. From Robert T. Well, thank you, Robert T. Thank you, thank you. All right, we're gonna check that. You ever read the miniseries where Hydra completes their 1,000-year quest to create a god to worship and they win? No. Yeah, I don't have much with Hydra in it, honestly. Like this, I don't think Hydra's in Fury Max. Hydra doesn't show up in Daredevil for shit. That's usually the Hand. Nor even show up in Ghost Rider. I mean, they show up in Captain America quite a bit, right? I have a little Captain America. I don't have a bunch. And I have a little Nick Fury, not a bunch. Yeah, I don't know what else they did. Probably Avengers, right? They also show up in. Yeah, no, I don't have much. I don't know. I'm not aware of that. But they create a Hydra god. A Hydra god, huh? Interesting. Is it a Hydra? Or is it just like some dude who's a god, right? And that'd be my guess, is it's just some dude. It's just some dude, I bet. All right, so we'll go over here. This is live. Oh, man. So I'll tell you folks on the stream, if I could have closed this campaign yesterday, I might have. Thank goodness Indiegogo does not let you cancel a campaign after it's taken money. Kickstarter, I probably would have canceled the campaign. I was just like, I was broken at points yesterday. It was crazy. Crazy. Much better today. Much better today. I'm sitting in ready for the long haul. Giant humanoid god that a mad scientist grafts him into. Yes, it sounds like Hydra. This sounds like Hydra. Or AIM, right? The other one. Hey, up to 12% so far. Yes, indeed, Scott. Welcome, welcome. So yeah, we're at 1650, 35 backers. So we are almost 10% of the backer total I would like. But we are up on the percentage. We would be like really low. Like we would not be doing so well if it wasn't for a very kind backer who is once again giving me a shot at these figures. Like that was a massive deal to happen yesterday, and I don't know the mad person who did that, but I am exceedingly grateful. If you see this mad person, I'm going to put a ton of love and care to painting and delivering that figure, as I did to the other three. And it should happen much faster, because I am not as heartbroken. I can't say I'm not heartbroken, but I'm not like broken down, grieving, like everywhere I look is depression, kind of sad. So it should go a lot faster. Should go a lot faster. Did add these tiers middle last night. Max is supposed to get to me before launch on Thursday about this, and I had a lot to say about it to kind of make sure it worked out. And then, of course, there's a language barrier, so I think he took some time to make sure he understood what I said, and they got back to me. So we now have original pages for sale as well, which is kind of excellent in my opinion. Well, I had a decent day at work too. Which was good because last weekend was awful. There was one day at work last weekend that was just like, I think it contributed to like the whole mindset throughout the week that I had that was kind of like very bipolar, a little manic. But nonetheless, yeah. We got original pages up. We got the standee, which we sold a couple of. So we got those in. I don't know if people watched the stream last night, but I'll show again. We got the roughs of these standees in. So there's two things that are going to change. And I will take a picture of these to put on the campaign and just put them like these are super rough. Because I want to get these in wood at twice the size and cut out Jack. There's three things that need to happen. So let me go ahead. You can see it there for a second. But that's uber tiny. That's not what we want. Give me full screen. Thank you. Oh, so here are the standees. They're going to be twice that size, and I'm going to cut off Jack instead of it just being a square. I couldn't do that beforehand. I just wanted to see the rough of the size and such, the detail in person. Detail's good, and again, we're going for the the size twice as big, and it doesn't change the profits very much at all. And they sent me 3 when I ordered 1, which was really cool. So I'm happy to work with these folks, and it'll be fun getting those. Um, but yeah, we got those standees in. Kind of neat, and I like them. Quality. Um, I know Eliza Bar's like they have 0 perceived value to me, and that's true. Like to me either. Like most of the time it couldn't. But I've seen what they do for other campaigns, and they are a wonderful profit margin. So I was happy to integrate them into this one, and I'm excited to kind of see what the wood ones look like when I actually have a finalized design. I didn't expect any of these tiers to move, and they haven't yet. Honestly, this is just like if you really want to help us out and get like a bunch of readable copies of Jack, this is the way. You get 5 of each of 1 through 3 of our misprint issues, and they might not be misprinted because we haven't looked personally through all 1,500 books. Apparently, there were some books that were actually pretty damn good out of the boxes Wicked has opened and looked through, so there's a good chance you might actually get some solid books at a steal. But we'll see. We'll see. But that's like all profit. Like we paid nothing for those misprints because they were supposed to be sent back, and due to a shipping error, we are overstocked on misprinted issues, quote unquote. Um, this has moved quite a bit, which I actually did expect. The issue 1 through 4 bundle. So folks who want to get everything at a decent price, I'm glad we sold 5 of them. I think my hope is we could sell all 100 of these. That would be great. Right on, Scott. Yeah, I think so. I think so. Um, I think the wood's gonna be nicer than this acrylic too, if I'm honest. That's why I'm going with the wood. The acrylic's like it's fine, but if we double the size of it, sorry, I'm looking at it. It's right next to my camera. If we double the size of it, and then it would, I think that'll be perfect. And cut out Jack, so it's not just a square, right? That's the problem with it right now. It's kind of a square. It stands out quite a bit. Um, I'm just gonna get Mrs. H to cut that out because she does that for all the animations. I'm sure she could do it. I could kind of do it. I know some programs that can do it, but I don't trust myself doing it. I don't. Not as well as I'm sure her skill would facilitate. The digital bundles have moved. I've seen a lot of people start there, which has been, I say a lot of people, 4 folks. I've seen those come in, and I'm very glad for it. International folks in particular are grabbing those, which I'm really happy about because I mean, by far it's the cheapest way to support us internationally and then get all our work. There's no question is this bundle. Little surprised, but I think doing some live streams and pitching the book, I might be able to get some folks to jump onto this tier. I thought it was a good idea because we did have like 100 extra number ones compared to almost all of our other issues. So I was, thinking it's a good way to get an entry level, and then of course, like we already have them printed, right? So make a profit off of it. And Wicked was kind enough, like I discussed this a little bit yesterday or whatever, but we had different ideas for the remnants of the campaign books, and they were fine with me pivoting to this. So that was very cool. Um, then the very entry fee, the issue number 4 digital. Very happy with that. I think the entry price is perfect. It's a little bit more than you'd pay once it goes public, but you're getting it early, and you're helping us actually make the book. So I think that's a reasonable price. Then, of course, the biggest one for the returning fans, 16 issue number 4s have been claimed. So we're getting there. We're getting there slowly but surely. We actually sold a good amount of add-ons too. The metal bookmarks were more popular than I thought they were going to be. So um, is it this one I want? Yes. I can share this because it has no other data. Yes. Okay, so let me share that. So here's the perks report. One person bought like the issue 4 and then bought the add-on for 1 through 3 misprint copies, the add-on for all 3 pinups, the Jackie Irons poster, and the bookmark. Somebody just wanted all the stuff in issue number 4. It's actually a consistent supporter of my work, our work, which has been really cool. Very, very kind of that person to do that and to stick with us. He bought a figure last go. It was really nice. Really cool dude. He's a patron as well. just I got some really cool supporters and fans. I'm very lucky. So that's the one of these that have been sent out. And that's one of those that's been done. Digital bundles, hand painted figure. Again, that was a biggie. If we can sell the other 4 of those or however I have up there, that would make a massive dent. But the fact that I sold one is surprises the hell out of me, honestly. Um, 16 of the issue fours, the 3 of the issue fours and standees. Yes, yes, yes. 6 of the digitals. Yeah. So there's only 25 of these metal bookmarks because it's kind of a I got to ship them to you from Shopify is how I'm doing it. Um, but it's cool. People were willing to actually pay what they have to pay to get them. So that was great because they're pretty cool looking. In fact, we're going to design a. So there's an example of one on the campaign page, but we will be changing the design. It'll still probably have the white Jack Irons logo on it, the square logo, but it'll have a cutout character, probably Jack from one of the scenes in issue number 4 once it's colored and such. So that'll be cool. We sold one of the posters again. We were talking about that. Somebody asked me to add an international tier for those posters. I did, and then they didn't get it. But it's understandable. Like the shipping to ship this fucker international is just insane. You might as well just like get something else. So I'm not mad at them. And of course we haven't sold the original art yet. But yeah, that's where we got in the perks. I still feel pretty good about how things are going. Of course, you could always like feel better. Like a lot of campaigns start with like $500 as the goal, and then they're funded, right? We could not do that. That's just not how our work works. Um, so I don't have that angle. So it's a slow crawl uphill. And of course, I am terrified that we're going to have a similar situation as last campaign where we make, about 7. Last campaign, yeah, even the hardcover Kickstarter, where we make like 7K and then it just bottoms out. Um, what happened before that, however, was we made like 7K and then we made up the 3K or whatever with the issue 3 campaign like on the last day. I don't expect that again, like ever. I think it was a miracle that time. What I'd like with this campaign is consistency. My hope is there is no massive mid-campaign lull. And we are making quite a few active efforts so that there is always something new and interesting coming up during this campaign. There's a pair of secret projects. There is actually there's a trinity of secret projects. 2 of which could end up in the book, and 1 of which could end up as something separate. There is a good amount of live stream scheduled, staggered out. I could always do more, but like, I not a big fan of that circus. Like, I love going on and all that, but a lot of the places that might take me, like, I got my fill, if I'm honest, of live streaming with my first campaign. I got my fill of it because there's always 1 or 2 where it's an ideological circle jerk, and you just gotta. For me, you could either get like belligerent and against it, or you just sit back and listen to it and wait till you can try and change the subject. Like I don't even like interacting with people most of the time. Like 90% of the time, like so like I'm not stoked to dive into environments that could very well foster that attitude. However, I might need to. So we'll see. I have the first like non-live stream, non-IronVerse Comics channel live stream Monday with a global frequency. I'm excited to talk to them again. They've been huge supporters. They helped pull my ass out of a fire last year. Um, they've also been like the main ones trying to make sure I have like appearances and stuff to show up. Really cool folks. I still have to read Mavericks though before that show, or I'm gonna feel so bad. It looks really good. Mavericks looks really good. Boom, 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 boom. I plan to do that in a couple days, Eliza Bar. Remember I was talking about those reading marathons. Um, and I did like the first campaign. That's what I did, like 8-hour streams, quite a few times. But I'm not repeating that circus again. I'm a way different person, which I think is for the best. Honestly, like I was never a bad person, but I was naive and kind of stupid. Um, yeah, I bet you have been through that, Scott. I bet you have. I'm gonna show you folks. If you didn't back it, it's actually really like the colors. Like the paneling's clear and the angles are good, right? The line art's good. The character designs are good, but it's the coloring that sells me on this book. And so far, it looks like they also don't overwhelm with the writing. So I think the pacing's going to be good too. But I have to read it. Um, I don't know if it made it in either. Let me show you something. Kind of cool. If it made it in, I don't know if it made it into the book, or if it's just like a print that people got with the physical copy. I couldn't at the time afford a physical copy. I intend to pick up one when I can't afford it. Let me see. Go up here, please, and go through the concept art. Concept art's cool. Like, I'm happy they included it. I did complain about the size of the digital file because it's like almost 2 GB. I told him you should shrink it. And he's like, well, we really wanted to have it be able to like people really zoom in on the art. And I'm like, dude, okay, it's gonna run like shit on phones. but you know, it is what it is. And you know what? I have a cheap ass phone, so it's probably not everybody's phone. This looks like the pinup gallery, so I'm looking for a specific pinup if it made it in. It might not have. Um, yeah, it doesn't look like it did. I think I know why. It's because it includes my character, and that is a separate IP, right? So that was probably a smart thing to do for them, just to cover their own asses. Yeah, I think that's what it is. Well, anyway, they worked with Maxie and Steve, and of course myself, to put out a cool pinup with Jack arm wrestling this gal in a bar while the rest of the team of the Mavericks are doing random stuff in a bar. It's a great little piece. I actually do have it, so you know what? Screw it, let's do it. I don't have anything in the downloads. It's like a bunch of random stuff in this downloads folder, so. Just look at all this porn. No, it's mostly like advertising stuff. I haven't moved to the proper folder. It's like that's like 90% of what's in my downloads folder is like I had to snag a screenshot or I built something on a online thing and downloaded it, right? It's like 99% of this. It's in here. I snagged it on purpose because I wanted my own copy of it because it's cool. Oh, wouldn't think it'd be that far down. I must have missed it. Yeah, it wouldn't be this far down, would it? A couple other crossover pinups. Jack has had a lot of crossover pinups. Problem is, it's like this dark color that a lot of our work, you know, Steve's coloring, so it blends in with a lot of the other work he's done. It's in here. I know I snagged it. I know it. There it is. Found it. I should like name something. But yeah, this very cool piece that was included with Mavericks. It was the first time I had seen a new piece of Jack in like a year and a half at that point, so it was really cool to see too. Um, yeah, totally recommend that book. Just because the people are awesome. They're like really cool to the comics community, and they're all over the place. Like they don't do the tribal thing greatly, you know. I appreciate it. They're one of the few folks who have like outside of certain circles that have taken like interest in my work, and I really appreciate it. Um, but yeah, I got to read Mavericks before that show on Monday, and it's a relatively long graphic novel that I gotta do. I'm excited though. Again, it looks really pretty. Like it artistically, I'm on board. I don't know story wise. It's a mecha story, so it could be cool. It could be whatever. Um, doesn't look like it's going to get up its own ass with like anti-war messaging or something, which is fine. Like I'm totally fine with anti-war messaging. It's just do it well. But I don't know I don't know what it's going for. But it looks interesting. Looks interesting. So I'm excited to check that out. And yeah, that's what I've been reading. That's the update on the Jack 4 campaign. There's nothing really new coming to it for a little bit. I've got again 3 secret projects that are kind of coming together. One for sure is gonna be in the book. One is a maybe gonna be in the book, and another is not gonna be in the book but might be printed. Um, so excited about those things. We'll tease them as it goes on. I'm excited to do some of those reading marathon streams, which could be 8-hour streams, Eliza Barr. He leans in and whispers, "Hey, Elijah." Fucking, yeah, it's that, the senator in the MCU is what I always think, that guy. Fucking weirdo. um, yeah, that's what I've been reading this week. I say this week. A couple of those have been like over the last months, but like Shield, Punisher Max, Complete Collections 5, and Shaman King Omnibus 7, which is like volumes 19 through 21. That I have read recently. Last What You're Reading, I had read Cage by Tartakovsky, which was just stupid blaxploitation fun. The Mad Recolored collection of Spy vs. Spy, because it's got this wonderful introductory cartoon to the creator of Spy vs. Spy by Sergio Aragones. Very cool. So check out What You're Reading 14 if you want to see a little bit about that and my thoughts on that. Um, but yeah, there's a lot of wonderful comics out there, folks. Thank you for sharing them with me. Um, Whoa, did you say 3 secret projects? Yes, sir. Yes, sure, Scott. Dollar Coins knows about all 3, but I think he's the only other person that does. Like, even the person I'm working with on one of them is oblivious on like anything else to do with what we're doing with issue 4. Um, Very cool artist. Some folks can kind of guess what that other project is because I did put out a call for artists on a specific type of artwork a couple weeks back, and I got a bunch of wonderful replies. And I found one Aussie who had a style I liked, and so we're doing something. It's half new, half not, but it's the first time I'm printing this particular project. Um, and yeah, I'm excited because the piece is pretty cool. The piece is pretty cool. There was a piece originally done for the project when it was originally done. That was fine, but I never got like a digital copy of it, and it just did not exactly communicate what I needed the piece to communicate. And it's the time to redo that story with Jack 4. Like, there's no question. It's a hand-in-hand kind of deal. So it's just a little more bonus content in the back of Jack because, again, I have about 16 pages to fill besides the 32 of story content. And so that's 2 of them. And I think I'm going to reprint the pinups. So that's another 3. So that's 5. And then we still have 11 to do, which I very unlikely doing a fan art gallery. There is a specific fan I might do a fan art gallery for because I've done enough pieces, and I would like to thank them. But that would be like a page, right? So that's the fun stuff after we have the book like completed. I get to compile that stuff. That'll be fun. Um, it keeps getting bigger every stream. It's never not been 48 pages. Okay, to be fair, it was 52 when we were originally planning on printing something else in there, but we decided against that with good reason. So, I mean, it's the same size. There's just different stuff to fill into that size, I guess. You quieted down, miss. She was so loud when I started streaming. She was just yelling at me and yelling at me. Guess she missed me today. The dog just ate, I guess, his lunch and dinner. It gets 2 meals a day. So she's outside. I guess it's about time she came in. I guess I can call this stream because I don't want it to drift too far off of the What You're Reading and the Jack 4 talk. So I guess that does it, folks. If you have any questions on the campaign while I'm still here, I'm happy to answer them. I'll stick around for a couple more minutes in case there's any questions. But otherwise, as I try to say every What You're Reading, let me know what you're reading. I want to know because, whether it's like modern manga, which I don't keep up with, or it's modern comics, which I don't keep up with, I want to know what's good. So if I come across it, and it interests me, then I have that extra bit in the back of my mind, like, oh yeah, somebody said that was good. And I pick it up and I can look at why it's good. Also, let me know why you think it's good. Like, I want to learn. That was a big part of why I did a whole stream on the comics and manga that mean the world to you, and why. And check that stream out if you're interested. I enjoyed that stream quite a bit. But you learn from what's already been done, right? And there's a lot I don't read. So you're doing me a favor. When can I expect the bribe money for a good review? Never. Might bribe you for a bad review. It's hard to get bad reviews of our works. To be fair, it really is. And I say bad reviews, honest reviews. Like most like reviews I get are either very simple, or they're it's like crazy positive. And as much as I like knowing what we're doing right, it is so much more helpful to know what we're doing wrong. And it's so much more helpful for somebody to have the chutzpah to actually tell me what we're doing wrong. Because fuck, it's really easy to have blinders on as a comic creator. It's like crazy easy to have those blinders on. That's why I do IronVerse Quickies. My whole point of that is like these people who I know and appreciate. Yeah, I'm going to give you the honest truth about what I think about your work. There's fluff to it. I try to be kind about it, but like I'm gonna take an editorial hatchet to it because you can learn from it. I could be wrong in aspects, of course. Like I'm no pro, but the intention is to reveal flaws so they can either be approved or avoided. And we don't get that much feedback that allows us to improve or avoid. We just get like, oh, this is really cool, or we enjoyed this. Still, Eliza Bar, like that first review of issue number 2 was like the first honest critique of our work that we had gotten. Everything else was like super fluffy and like really kind. And not saying your review wasn't kind, but like this reads like an RPG source book. And I was like, oh, yeah, I can see that. Nobody else told us that. I didn't think it when I was writing it, but I was like, yeah, I could see that. It's that kind of stuff that I learned from, and I think in issue number 3, I was able to adapt, and we've improved. And there are still those aspects because I'm very stubborn, and there's certain information I feel I have to get out. But with issue number 4, very different. Um, since it's the end, issue 3 finished an arc, the introductory arc. Issue number 4, I wanted to start with a new, clean, almost clean slate um, in how I'm telling stories. So that's why I'm so damn excited to get issue number 4 out because like I can integrate everything I learned again. But we'll see. We'll see. Bro, you shipped me an RPG source book, not a comic book. Exactly. Exactly. You're trying out King Spawn. All right. Um, I never got into Spawn. Like, I've tried a lot of early image stuff, and as I've heard again and again, they were not storytellers; they were artists. Um, so it's hard for me to like dive into those image properties nowadays, including Spawn. I've read Violator. I enjoyed Violator, the 3-issue miniseries. It wasn't amazing, but I enjoyed it. It was like cornball fun. The one series I kind of do want to get into, the more I've kind of read about it and how much I actually really appreciate the artist, Sam Keith, is the Max. I think I do want to start the Max to see if I can get like that vibe because it wasn't. It was shoehorned into a bunch of superhero stuff, even though it wasn't really a superhero book at all. And I'm really interested about that. I really like the animated series, right? And I love Sam Keith's artwork like so much. He has some of the most imaginative paneling in comics. People like love his musculature. They love the hyper detail. Like he fucked up his hand and wrist doing that hyper detail on like Wolverine and Hulk and shit. So you can see as series got later and stuff that the detail changes and his style changed because he fucking hurt himself. But I'm very interested on the Max because that was a series he like poured everything into and then hated it and kept pouring everything into it anyway. until it finished. And it's only like 35 issues, so that would be really cool to check that out. Like out of Image, that's what I want to read. Out of that age of Image, Spawn, cool character design. Todd McFarlane, immaculate businessman for comics. Like definitely a polarizing figure still, though, like all those Image guys are. Um, Spawn has a great character design. I like the corny 90s movie. I love the HBO series. But just never really picked up on Spawn. Again, it's those guys like Wildcats, so tough to read. Fucking Team 7, I think, is one of them. That one's really tough to read. Uh, Youngblood, like that whole generation is like, yeah, it looks cool. Give me Valiant from the same age, please. Give me Jim Shooter when he was in control of Valiant for a little bit. I'll take that. Because that's entertaining and had a goal and a cohesion to it. It's not just, look at these cool pictures. I don't know. The first issue of Spawn is a masterpiece. The next bunch of issues, not so much. Well, that's good to know. I'm glad the first issue was really good. Again, the first issue of Wildcats, not so much. First issue of Youngblood, not so much. Savage Dragon, I don't know. I don't like Larson. Uh, he soured me on basically anything he ever touches now. But got to be somebody else though. But yeah, King Spawn. I hope it's good. Out of those, like out of that new stuff, of course, I'm interested in Gunslinger Spawn. I like Brett Booth's art quite a bit. I don't remember if he just did the covers or if he did the interiors. But I know Brett Booth is on that book in some capacity. And I love his work. I mean, it's Spawn in a 10-gallon cowboy hat. There's got to be some kind of fun to it. I don't know. It was very ballsy for Todd McFarlane to create a Spawn universe where it's just like, here's a bunch of different Spawns. Just something weird about that to me. It's like Marvel created a universe where it's a bunch of different Wolverines. Oh, wait. They've done that again and again. Marvel's done that. And Spider-Man's a better example. So that's been done quite a few times, and I don't think it's ever really excellent. But maybe it'll work for McFarlane. I kind of hope it does. I hope he continues being super successful. Um, it's a great like indie example. He's a great indie example. Dragon started out strong, got weird, got weirder, and got weirder. Is still somehow going. Well, I mean, he's the CCO, and he only prints like 4,000 copies of an issue now or something. He can put all the fetishes he wants into it at this point. I think I have a couple. I think I have the first issue of Savage Dragon actually. There was a Hastings. That was the name of the store. There was a Hastings in Santa Fe, and it closed down and it had a huge comic section. So when it closed down, I went there like every day for a couple. Every week while it was closing, I went there like a weekend and would grab stuff. Like I got graphic novels for $1, tons of back issues for a quarter. They started bundling similar stuff together and selling it for a quarter because it was the going out of business or whatever sale. And so I snagged a bunch of Image firsts. There was no Spawn, or if there was, it was snagged. Got some Amalgam out of there. That was cool. I don't have a complete collection of Amalgam yet, but I have quite a few. I don't know if you can see it. Speed Demons right there. No, you can't. You can see maybe the corner of it. The Ghost Rider Flash Amalgam. Doctor Strange Fate. The JLX. There's some cool stuff. I liked that idea. It was goofy. It was stupid. I liked it. Can we get into the Codyverse where everyone is dressed up as Jack Irons? Well, we got two Jack Irons. And we got somebody doing the first cosplay of it. Like he's been assembling it. I don't know when that's going to be like complete, but that was kind of neat. Somebody's actually trying to assemble a Jack cosplay. That's neat. Me though, the best you're gonna get is like when I get a better mic that I can just place on my table, which it's not it's $25 or something. And I'll get a really cheap like table mic that's probably better than this sucker. Then I can wear a cowboy hat. I can't wear a cowboy hat with the headphones. It don't work. That's the best you're gonna get from me is cowboy hat, and I will wear a cowboy hat at conventions. It would be dumb for me not to. And I've got a couple really nice ones. Um, first, it's still funny though that the next couple issues of Spawn weren't so great. I think that's kind of funny. Because I'm assuming it was all McFarlane, right? Like for a good chunk. Yeah, again, I keep hearing that most of the original wave of Image was just like they were artists. They knew what looked cool at the time. They didn't really know how to tell a story and have it look cool. So you get a lot of that. But I'm stoked. The first issue of Spawn, I'll have to keep an eye out because I'm sure it's not like crazy expensive. It's one of those books that was like printed into oblivion, I'm sure. But maybe not. Maybe not. But besides the Codyverse question, if there's anything else on what I'm reading, thoughts on stuff, or on the campaign, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to start closing it up so I can get the pup on inside. She's been out for about, not too long, about an hour. It would be nice to get her in. So I'm in no massive rush, but I don't have much else to say. Again, I recommend Shaman King. Work through the rough volumes. Totally worth it. So much heart in this series, and it sucks. The creator recently gave an interview where, like, I guess he lost a lot of readers during that period in the actual like release, where he was trying to keep up with other shonen manga at the time and keep the series going. And he feels that like it tainted Shaman King's legacy and that he'll never like his life's work, Shaman King, won't ever really be adored like he feels it could be. Um, Very interesting kind of interview I read. Very cool guy. If you read the Shaman King, you can tell he's a very cool cat. Yo Asakura is just a wonderful protagonist. Probably one of my favorite shonen protagonists of all time. Like he's up there with Goku for me in terms of like personality and growth. Um, yeah, like he has a catchphrase. It'll all work out, and that was really nice. And that's something that Shaman King keeps reminding me is just breathe. I'm not great at that. I'm not great at that. It's part of why my mood's better. Is because I read this. Just so much. Like there's a whole chapter in there about how important it is to have faith in each other, or else everything breaks down. It's just fucking gorgeous. Just incredible work. They did Spawn #1 as a free comic book day book a couple years ago, so there's probably 100K or more of those. So, all right, cool. So I could snag the first issue of Spawn because I think I do have the first Savage Dragon. I have Wildcats. I have Young Blood. Um, yeah, I'm gonna have to dig those out at some point. In fact, I did dig them out. Be right back. It's worth digging out because I'm gonna do. I wanted to do IronVerse quickies on those, so I'll be right back. Just 1 second. They know I dug them out. You might still hear. Yep, yep. Here they are. Here they are. Oh, God. Also some fanzines. Oh, okay. There's the other one. That was the other series I forgot. Okay, cool. So I had a big. I was separating books I already had into like categories to do IronVerse quickies on. And this one was company interactions. I don't know why it's interactions. But yeah, it looks like Stormwatch, Youngblood, Wildcats, and Savage Dragon. Clearance on Savage Dragon. The cover of Savage Dragon's alright. Like, I'll give Larson that. When he wants to be a decent artist, he can be a decent artist. That's cool. That's cool. Oh, Wildcats. I mean, it's Jim Lee. It's fucking awesome. Art-wise, it's fucking awesome. Stormwatch. Who is that? Scott Clark. I don't know him. He must have been a later wave. And there's Liefeld in Youngblood, the first exciting issue. Looks a lot like Jim Lee's work. Just not as good. And he's hiding the feet, though. That's Liefeld for you. Can't have any feet. But yeah, Savage Dragon actually out of those covers. It's the coolest cover. I gotta give him that. I gotta see the Spawn #1 cover though. I bet it's cooler than that. Larson was a top 5 Spider-Man artist. Yeah. Before he became weird and kinky. No, he's probably always weird and kinky before he was confident in it and decided to share it with the world. Um, yeah, I don't know. Like the guy is what turned me off. Not well, the guy and then his current work is what turned me off. That combination. I have no idea about his past art. Like that looks cool. That's a cool fucking cover. I totally will give him props on that. That's cool. Like I don't even really care for the Savage Dragon like look, the Mohawk fin thing. Like don't really care, but that cover fucking sells it. So there you go. Um, yeah, interesting, interesting. Yeah, I hadn't seen that cover for a long time. It's funny though. So yeah, I'll keep an eye out for Spawn #1. It's probably real cheap. Um, or I might do what I've kind of done before is just like buy one of those random. I like doing this. Is how I started off collecting comic books. Is eBay will do these like bulk boxes that'll have like no duplicates. They say sometimes they're a duplicate. They often lie, but no duplicates. And then they'll like do it all as a comic company, or they'll do it all as like a theme. And I'll just get like a box of Image and hope that I get a Spawn in there. uh, yeah, the coolest thing I snagged off of eBay, just random story, is I got like a massive X-Men collection for like less than a quarter an issue, and it had all the variants for #1. Of course, like everybody was buying that, like it was gonna, pay for their kids' college fund, right? But it was cool to have those as a kid. Like I had no interest really in reading X-Men, and I saw that excellent lot that was like 500 issues in a long box. And I was just like, "Yep, I'm gonna snag that." And some of them were, most of them are readers' copies, is the best way to say it. But the #1s and all that were bagged and boarded and taken care of. Very cool. So I have a bunch of X-Men and like 50 Wolverine issues and a decent X-Men collection. Had all of the Age of Apocalypse arc, so I've read that, and that was a lot of fun. Had all the entries. I think that's when that guy was collecting them before he passed. I think is how I got that. And so that was really cool. It had like a whole arc of X-Men that's just like crazy interwoven all over the place. That was a lot of fun. Um, and there's a lot of mixed issues in there. But yeah, that's X-Men. And we talk about Jim Lee. That's how I got there. Jim Lee's X-Men #1. I should buy a box of random comics from you. Oh, do you have boxes of random comics to buy? Because if you'll sell like 50 for $15 like eBay, and it'll all be for one company, no duplicates. I mean, I might as well buy from you compared to buying from eBay. Just saying, just saying. But yeah, that's what you're reading. Some point I'll do quickies on those original Image issues at some point. Now I kind of feel like I need to do Savage Dragon just so I can be like, yeah, this was actually okay. Still don't like the guy, but it was actually okay. He deserves to be Eric Larson, right? I'm sure he does, and I'm sure like back then he put out some great work, but like just the fetish shit and like the arrogant assholeness now is just, whew. Like out of most comic pros I've even just like lightly come across, he's the top of my shit list. Like it turned me completely off from trying anything with Image ever. You could probably feel it with extra G.I. Joe books. I do like G.I. Joe. Not like terribly. It's not like my favorite franchise. Grew up with the toys, of course. Who didn't? And the characters are fun. But I have not read much G.I. Joe. I think I have a couple old Larry Hama issues. But I think he did it forever, so old could be a very wide spectrum, right? Um, yeah, I think I have like 3 Larry Hama issues. And I think that's the extent of my G.I. Joe collection. Uh, More than my Transformers collection, which I just have a 1 issue of Transformers Cross X Files from IDW. That's my 1 Transformer issue. You got Sergeant Slaughter to sign the first G.I. Joe book he appeared in. Dope. He's a cool cat from what I can tell. At least his public persona is pretty cool. Um, like I even got a follow from the guy, and I'm not a wrestling dude at all. I just like interacted once and got that. Like his PR people are really good, if nothing else. Um, he seems like a cool dude, and the fact that he was in, he is a Joe is pretty cool. I like that. The main G.I. Joe book has been written by Larry Hama since day one, across like 4 different publishers. That's what I thought. Yeah. He slapped you on a Cobra Clutch. That's great. That's great. That's one of the things, man. I really respect wrestlers. Most of them are super humble, and like the physical toll of that occupation is incredible, and the fact that they do it for so long, like I'm a huge fan. Like I'm not a wrestling fan again, but like the Undertaker, as like what he did and all the damage he took and all like the wrestlers he helped out in that small figure, and how he maintained like a certain like persona within it, both to the fans and as like a fellow wrestler. Just like that whole story, I really like that bit. Really made me respect him and like wrestling as an art. Honestly, um, it's just the physical toll is just incredible, and how long some of these dudes do it, even with this pain, just crazy. Just some really interesting souls that partake in that. So I'm sure some crazy assholes, but there's also some like some fucking dedicated athletes and performers, and it's a very unique combination of athlete and performer. Really cool. Honky Tonk Man was talking my ear off that day too. I don't know who Honky Tonk Man is, but it sounds like somebody who would talk someone's ear off. Did you hear that time I did a honky tonk? That's why they call me Honky Tonk Man. I don't know. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Lasbar. I'm feeling you. But yeah, I guess I'm gonna call it. We kind of went all over the place, but I appreciate your folks' company. Thank you for joining me on What You're Reading. Anybody watching this later, feel free to comment on anything. And again, please let me know what you're reading. I want to know. I'm Cody with IronVerse Comics. I'll catch you folks later on that rusty IronVerse Comics trail. Don't forget to back Jack 4 if you haven't already. He's one of the all-time great wrestlers. Lots of great feuds in the 80s and 90s. From what I'm aware of, it very much is. But yes, ciao. Albirzane, or however the hell you pronounce that. Adios, amigo. Vaya con Dios. All right, take care, friends.